This podcast is for general information only. It is not intended as a substitute for general healthcare services. If you have medical conditions, you need to see your doctor. Use of this information is at the user's own risk. Welcome to Fit RX with Dr. Greg Dennis. Join me as we challenge the standard sick model of healthcare. This is your source for everything health, wellness, prevention, fitness, biohacking, and more. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Fit RX. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Dennis. It is a beautiful Friday here in Oklahoma, although when this comes out, it probably will be summertime and hot. But anyways, as of now in the spring, we have a beautiful day. I'm interviewing a DocChristine Sauer. She is a MD as well as a naturopathic doctor who grew up in Germany, now in Canada. She has written several books, The F-Word Diet, Eating for Vibrant Health, and My Daily Sparkle and Gratitude. So we'll ask her about each of those, and just does a lot of health and wellness coaching. And so we're just going to kind of pick her brain today and see where the conversation goes. So Dr. Sauer, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Greg, and I'm happy to be on the show. And since we're both doctors, usually we don't say the doctor. That's fine with me.
Okay, very nice. Tell us, I guess, if you will, a little bit about your story. You grew up in Germany and trained as a physician, end up moving to Canada, and as I mentioned, now you kind of practice more, wellness type medicine. So, just kind of talk about that transition for you and why you kind of switched what you were doing. Just tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
I'd be happy to. So I grew up in Germany and I became a physician, a naturopath, which is not an unusual combination in Germany, interestingly. And I married, had children, the typical wife thing. And I still worked in the family practice that we together had and was very successful by all means, opened my own dermatology practice, one of the only ones in Germany that had 6 weeks wait time. I had a lot of fun, but I worked 14 to 16 hours. It was way too much. The stress was too much. My marriage was not happy. The children were hard to manage. They grew older, teenagers, and I didn't know what to do with them, honestly, at that point. So something had to give, the stress, it affects your health. So for me, it started with back pain. So I got back pain and it started one day. I never had back pain before. And that evening, I was in severe pain and just made it home in bed. The next morning, I couldn't walk. So I went to the hospital, had to learn to walk again. I had 2 slipped discs. Took me 4 weeks. I walked again. I started to work. Next disc slipped. So I gave up medicine because I couldn't work. And then the second thing hit. My ex-husband, he decided to commit suicide. So I wasn't feeling good. And we had immigration papers to Canada before that. So I thought, well, how about everything ended here anyway? Let's go to Canada, make a new start. It was kind of a dab in the unknown. And the children were 15, 16 at the time. And they didn't know what was expecting them. I didn't know it. And so we went to Halifax. It was, in the end, it came the best decision, but at the moment it was very hard. I fell in a deep depression because medicine had been my passion, my purpose, and I had nothing besides it. So I was really depressed. And at one point I tried to commit suicide. By the way, that's an interesting thing because I was on antidepressant, as I gave everybody. But then the psychiatrist, that was 1998, decided to triple my dosage. And that triggered me to try to commit suicide, which we well know now as a side effect of SSRIs. I'm not a big fan anymore, obviously. And so I ended up in a psychiatric hospital for 4 weeks. I was really miserable for many, many months. And slowly then I pulled myself out by the hair of the hole. And then at some point, it was years later, I already had met my new husband. He's from here, from Halifax, a wonderful guy. And I reinvented my life. And I said to myself, You know, the decision that people make that are chronically ill. I had chronic back pain. I was on morphine. I was on codeine. I was on psychiatric drugs. I was not living. I was existing. So I said to myself one day, that is not the life I want to live. I want to have a different life. I want to be able to connect back with my purpose and make a difference in people's lives. Now, I could have gotten my medical license, but they lied to me too from the medical establishment. They said, oh, just take those tests and then you can work as a physician after you worked with a few other doctors for a few months. So I took the LMCC 1 and 2, I passed them. And then I went back to the College of Physicians and they told me, oh, no, you're not from a Commonwealth state. You need a new residency. So at that point, my question was, is there part-time residencies? And the answer was no, with no options. So that didn't help my depression. So over time, and I laugh at it now because it's long ago. So then I made my decision, I want to do something else. What can I do as an unlicensed physician and naturopath? But I thought I become a health coach. Why not? And doing everything wrong, thinking just, oh, become a health coach, put a website up and people will come. And like many health and wellness coaches realize, it's like putting a billboard in the desert. Nothing exactly happens because people don't know you. And I dabbled a little bit local, but I happen to live in the smallest province in Nova Scotia, that in the smallest province, one of the smaller ones, and one of the poorest provinces in Canada, where the people have a very negative mindset that I was trying to change, but not very successfully. So at some point, I realized what I was doing best. I took, like many coaches, more education. I aligned myself with Dr. Daniel Amen, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. I took myself against the advice of my local physicians, kind of funny, of all medications, replaced them by natural supplements and lifestyle options. And then I decided, why not write some books and about what I know and publish them myself, published them. I wrote collaborative books that have been become bestsellers, which is nice. I did a TEDx talk that didn't get published on TEDx because it wasn't streamlined enough. But I have the recording because it was recorded during COVID, which is nice. So, and I share that with clients. I just published it under a different name. It's okay. It is what it is. So it's interesting. And now I work mostly with what I call holistic brain care. I help people to rehabilitate their brains like I did mine, because psychiatric medications damage the brain. And it takes months, if not years, to rehabilitate the brain to function again, to be able to really think and think clearly, get rid of the brain fog. Now, at the same point, I was overweight. I was 150 pounds overweight. So in 2006, we went and had weight loss surgery in India, was the cheapest option. And I have kept the weight off since then, which is another thing, because it's not so hard to lose the weight, as you know. It's harder to keep it up, keep it off. So I now focus on helping people with different issues like weight loss problems that have emotional eating issues too, because I'm good in both areas. Many people that are depressed, either they don't want to eat, then they lose weight, or they eat extra, then they gain weight. And then I noticed many of my depressed and overweight clients had, and I don't call them patients, I call them clients, they had inflammation. And inflammation contributes not just to weight issues, but also to depression and many, many other health issues. The gut health was very important. So I took a gastrointestinal mastery course to be able to interpret the organic acid tests properly and help those clients with bio-individual nutrition. And so I expanded to children and youth with ADHD and autism, because it's a very important group of people nowadays that are doled psychiatric medications and they're damaged for life unnecessarily. And I'm not totally against those medications. I'm against the long-term use of those medications.
Well,
so
very
that's
nice.
my story.
Yeah, well, congratulations on your transformation, and getting off all those drugs. So let's talk about that a minute, because looking at your website and stuff, you kind of specialize in a lot of mental health, and as you well know, and listeners well know, that kind of conventional medicine, if you go in and say you're anxious, you're depressed, first thing they're going to do is put you on a SSRI, which is Paxil, Prozac, Lexapro, Celexa. There's a number of them, and certainly those are not without side effects. But so talk about your approach to mental health and how you help people, through supplements. I don't know, what are your typical recommendations when somebody when you're working with somebody specifically for depression, anxiety, those type things.
Well, typically the people that come to me, they have a very long history of mental health issues because they have tried conventional options. They are on medication. Sometimes they even have tried TMS or other options and they just didn't get better. And now they want to go to the causes of the whole thing and want to finally get the help they know they can get. They somewhere know they have. So I developed actually a program and strategy to help those, because it's the same story that I had. It's for years, and at some point you had enough. You want to get better, and I call that to sparkle, because you recognize it. When you see somebody that's really depressed, their eyes are dead. But then when you rehabilitate it, you look them in the eyes, they sparkle, they have the joy, the energy, the vitality back. That's what the clients want. So I can help them, and we always start with what I call a 5-dimensional holistic health assessment, where I really go in depth, and it's a series of online questionnaires where I ask all the questions. I determine the brain type. I use the questionnaires developed by Dr. Daniel Amen and some modifications by myself. I find out what type of depression or anxiety, if they have. If it's children, what type of ADHD, if adults, what type of ADHD or attention deficit. It's really not a valid diagnosis in my books. It's totally over-diagnosed. Those labels, I call it labels. They label you as sick. It's terrible, especially for children. They learn that they're victims now, and they settle in that instead of reaching for their potential. And from there, I go then and coach them around what they need to do. So we develop what I call a life strategy plan, which includes supplements, a nutrition plan, an exercise plan, and the whole gamut of lifestyle options that really in the Western world we lost. But in many countries and cultures, and even when I in Germany, when I trained as a naturopath, we learned about all those options like hydrotherapy. It's great, balneotherapy. It's wonderful. And people don't even know that in the morning a cold shower resets their adrenals, whereas in the evening, it's better to have a warm shower if you want to sleep. Those basics are totally lost. It's sad.
Yeah.
So that's what I do with clients. And after about a year or so, they are from sad to sparkle. And I'm not taking them off the medicines to start with, because there are withdrawal symptoms and they can be severe. And many have tried just to take them, no longer take them. So if anybody listens to that and takes those, don't suddenly stop them. Get an experienced practitioner to put you on a targeted plan, or you will have severe withdrawals. I don't want that for you. It's terrible.
For sure. So what supplements do you like specific for depression, and or anxiety?
That's a very interesting question, and there's not typical supplements. I make an individualized plan for everybody, because I find there's not one supplement that helps everybody, and it depends on many factors. Now, generally, anybody should take a very good multivitamin mineral. Pretty much anybody is deficient in vitamin D and K2. Pretty much everybody needs magnesium. Pretty much anybody needs omega-3 fish oil, or the vegetarian alternative, which is krill oil, and not krill oil, which is a phytoplankton, marine algae derived omega-3s. That's really basics. And then, of course, it depends on the situation. There may be certain B vitamins, there may be zinc, And that's what the the organic acid tests help to determine what they really benefit from. And I did the courses from Julie Matthew on bio-individual nutrition, which goes very deep into the biochemistry. I'm a fan of biochemistry and Krebs cycle, and I try to optimize it without breaking the bank and without many patients fall to the fallacies that either buy something that's really expensive that they don't need, but they have not, the basics are not right. They don't eat anything healthy. I mean, I'm sorry, if you are Twinkies all day, the best supplements can't get you healthy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, let me ask you about your book. So you've written several books. One is called The F Word Diet.
Yes, it's a fun project of mine.
Yeah. So give us just kind of a brief summary of that book.
The F Word Diet is about, it's for people that are overweight and label themselves with the F word. They look in the mirror and they say, oh, F, I hate what I'm seeing. I can't stand myself. I don't know what to do, so I better eat some more. Because that's a typical reaction when we look in the mirror. And I was like that. I looked in the mirror. I hated what I see. I got bigger and bigger. And I said to myself, oh, F that. So I had that idea. And then I made it as one of the books that actually helped with, to establish. It's actually it's a conversation between a doctor and a patient, a fictional patient. So it's a half an informative book and it's half an entertaining book, because I didn't want to write another textbook. There's lots of them out there. The Obesity Code by Jason Fung is excellent, or stuff like that. They're long and this is a book that's easy to read. The F Word Diet, it's really easy to read, and it has information about intermittent fasting, which in my opinion is one of the best methods, at least to start losing weight. And we know that it helps with longevity, which is your specialty too. And it helps with persistent weight loss, and it liberates people from that constant deprivation thing that many weight loss patients go on. I can't eat that. I'm not allowed. But if you're not allowed, your brain says, oh, you don't want it. And then they eat.
Yeah. So you wrote another book called Eating for Vibrant Health, which I love that title because my clinic's name is Vibrant Life. And so love that. So what, tell us about that and maybe what's different about that book than the other diet book.
I wrote the Eating for Vibrant Health and Explosive Energy for my clients, really, because I got always asked, what can I eat when I go to the grocery store? What should I choose? So I made it very simple, and I broke down the food groups, and I classified each food groups in 3 parts. What is recommended or optimal to eat, what is acceptable if you can't afford or get what's optimal, because I live in the northern climates, we don't always get the optimal food, and many people can't afford organic or biodynamic food, which obviously is best. And then what better to avoid. And in the beginning, I write a few articles about what I think about food quality, food preparation, processing food, and the difference between fresh, local, and has been on the store shelves for 6 weeks and still look good.
And then lastly, you wrote a book called My Daily Sparkle and Gratitude. And so tell us a little bit.
Sparkle of Gratitude, a journal to brighten your day. Now, I wrote that for my mental health clients that need to have a little bit more established that gratitude attitude. It's not really a habit. I had a client tell me, oh, I have to do that gratitude thing, like it was a task. No, it's an attitude that we have in every moment. Right now, I'm grateful for so many things at once, for being with you, for having electricity, were just basic things. We can have an attitude of gratitude. And Dr. Neyman, one of my mentors, he said in the brain scans, we can see that being grateful equalizes the brain and makes it function better.
Well, good deal. So You also host your own podcast, and it's called Sparkles for Mental Health. So tell us a little bit about that, how long you've been doing it, and just maybe some of the topics that you discuss on the podcast.
Well, I started that podcast in 2017 as a local radio show, and I called it Healthy Alternatives, which is okay, but it was really non-descriptive. And over time, when I developed my real love for mental health focus, I said, all my guests, I always had guests, and they share stories of struggle and overcoming that struggle. And the mental capacity, the brain, the mindset is so important for tenacity, for getting out of the hole, overcoming challenges that inevitably life throws at you. So then I thought I rebranded as Sparkles for Mental Health because really that's what I'm talking about. How we can grow personal growth in 5 dimensions, in all 5 dimensions: physical, mental, social, spiritual, and financial.
Okay.
And I have people of all walks of life on it, from a pastor to fitness guys like you, and holistic and functional doctors that sometimes and even I had people that are Ron Williams was a bodybuilder, a natural bodybuilder, great guy.
Well, so sometimes I like asking people about their kind of daily routine. So you said you like intermittent fasting. I mean, you've written books on diet. So tell us what a typical day looks like for you as far as eating, exercise, fasting, your kind of what you do for mental health, meditation, whatever. You don't have to go into detail, but just kind of tell us what a general day looks like for you.
That's a very good question, thank you. And I don't really spend much time anymore on it. What I do in the morning, I usually get up between 4 and 5 because I'm a morning person. And the first thing that everybody should do, that's actually a good tip for anybody. When you get up, before you even get up, you put your legs out of the side, put your naked feet on the floor, feel the cool ground, stretch your arms in the air, and says, it's gonna be a great day. And if you like affirmations, you can say them then. And then you go to the washroom and start your day. And it has already started as a good day. That's crucial for mental health. Now, then I usually go in the kitchen because my husband is still sleeping. And then I have my 3-minute exercise because I'm lazy. I don't like to go to the gym. I do my exercise at home. I do intentional, intuitive movement. That means in everything I do, even when I'm sitting on the computer, I engage as many muscle groups as I can. And there's also where the mindfulness comes in, because I did Tai Chi for a while and I like certain forms of yoga, not all. But and that is important too, because it combines the strengthening of the body with mindfulness and mental calmness, which is very important. And then I start my day. I usually have a cup of coffee. Why not? And I have whatever for breakfast. I cannot eat for breakfast, and I experimented with that. I cannot have anything carb rich. For example, even nuts or organic oatmeal or something. I cannot have that. It makes me tired. In the morning, I need protein, so I usually have an egg and bacon or something like that. And then I can start my day. And I'm not on the computer. I'm very busy, so usually I don't do much. I get up every now and then and do some Tai Chi exercises, and or I do the 3-minute exercise by Zach Bush to get my energy back and help a little bit. And then after the end of my workday, and workday for a coach is often a little cut up, I'll walk my dog sometimes when the weather's nice and my neighbors think I'm crazy because I move my whole body when I walk. I'm not just flop, flop, flop. That's my idea of intentional intuitive exercise. That's how I keep my weight off. I use my muscles every day, but not by going to the gym, but by using them for every little move that I do during the day. And that way, I still have muscle mass and I still burn more energy than most people that just sit on the Chesterfield, do nothing. Of course, if you like the gym, if you want to go to the gym, it's great. I don't mind the gym. I just don't take the time to go there. But if it's a good gym, you like it, by all means. And in the evening, usually my husband cooks, and we like good vegetables. We like meat. Meat is wonderful. The more the animals are natural, we used to have chickens. Now that was gorgeous. Fresh eggs from chickens that are on the grass, that eat the herbs. They are so wonderful. Now we get them from a farmer nearby. Not as good as our own were, but they were good. And it's fun to see the chickens actually in nature and walk. When you look out of the window, you see the chickens walking around. They're such
Yeah,
sweet animals. I spoke at the Toastmaster, the chicken, the misunderstood animals. I don't like chickens being confined to those cage batteries. I think it's cruel to the chickens. I have no
right.
problem eating chicken and killing animals, but I have a problem being cruel to animals. This is
Sure.
not the same. And I think it's important to distinct that because some vegetarians and vegans are very, very, let's say, they say every killing an animal is bad. And I
Mhm.
disagree.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, very nice. So your website is DocChristine, and that's DocChristine.com.
Mhm.
Is that the best place that people can learn more about you and your services and what you do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I just had a big makeover. The website looks nice and is much more functional than what I did myself before. So yes, DocChristine.com by all means. And if you
Okay.
Google my name, you land somewhere where my website link is.
Okay. All right. And then once again, your podcast is Sparkles for Mental Health. So,
Mhm.
okay. Well, as we wrap up here, I always ask my guest if they could give us one health tip that would make us healthier today. What would you say to that?
I think the most important tip is when you do something, be fully with it and do not try to do 10 things at once. And try to do one thing after another in the right order. This is really good for health. And don't feel bad if you make mistakes because we all do. And it's not helpful. If so many people nowadays are stressed, and on my website and otherwise, I have a little video that I give away for free with the course. I call it the Instant Calm Formula because I help people to de-stress and calm anxiety and voice in less than 10 minutes. So I invite you, stress is one of your problems. Go there and get your instant calm formula. It's really good.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for just sharing your story and a little bit more about what you do. And so, uh, would encourage everyone to just check out her stuff. And so, as always, I appreciate everyone listening, and we will talk to you next time. Thank you for listening to Fit RX. I invite you to share this with friends and family. If you would like, you can check out our website at vibrantlifedc.com, or you can email me at drgreg@vibrantlifedc.com.